Hi there, I'm Liz from Teach Between the Lines, and I wanted to create a quick video here to share some tech tools and resources that will help you take the materials, the digital materials you have purchased here in this resource, and deliver them virtually to your students through distance learning in this really unique situation that we are in. A lot of these tools are going to be the tools that I'm using myself in my classroom or as I collaborate with other teachers nationwide on the tools that they are using to deliver content out to students through this time. This will also vary depending on the platform that your district has chosen to use. I know a lot of districts are using Google Classroom or Edmodo or Canvas, and so some of this will vary based on the tools that you have available to you. But I wanted to share some quick tips for how to actually take the teacher presentation slides and get that information to your students digitally, how to still create some of those engaging activities like think, pair, shares, or discussions, gallery walks, and stations. Those things that are still within some of these bundles, you can still apply in a digital setting, and I want to share with you some of the tech tools that can help you do that through this time. I also, on the screen here, I have my email address, and as you look through the resource and you look through some of the digital components, if you have any questions about the way that you could, should, or would want to deliver the material, I am always available to help via email. And at the end, I will share some blog posts that I've written as well. I've written 3 or 4 blog posts, and more are coming with actual links to some of these resources that I'm going to talk about. And ways that you can incorporate them. I've also made other videos, so if you don't have a platform like Google Classroom and you want to create your own personal website very quickly and also have a safe website that's secure and private, I've already created some videos on my blog posts for that purpose too. So I want to give you just as many resources and tools as I can to get you going quickly. I know things are really overwhelming right now, so get you going quickly with this resource and get it out to students with the least amount of work on your end. So with that, we will go ahead and get started taking a look at some of these suggestions. My favorite of these is Zoom. Zoom to me really feels like you're still in a classroom. You're able to have a whiteboard, you're able to screen share really easily and seamlessly. So you can be sharing either the PowerPoint version of the teacher slides, or you can be sharing the Google Slides version of the teacher slides as well. And you have your students in a classroom with you. They are there with you in the situation. So they can still do things like think, pair, share. They can still do things like a partner chat. There's a chat feature. They can, kind of do that, elbow partner, the eyeball partner version in an online setting where they can partner chat with other peers within the classroom and chat back out with you and share their ideas that way. They can take their microphone and share their thoughts, so you can still have a class discussion of sorts in that way too. And there's also a breakout room feature, and I'll talk more about that when we get to talking about how you can do stations or groups or discussions. But I like this feature for all of those situations and delivering the content to students. You can also record this. So if a student can't make it to the live session, or they lost track of time, or they forget to attend, they still can get the content delivered to them in a meaningful and engaging way with you there as their teacher through the recording of the session. There's a couple of safety features, however, with Zoom. Recently, there's been a few issues with Zoom that you're going to want to probably be aware of. When you set up your Zoom meeting, and there's a whole bunch of tutorials online, and I'll be making one as well for my next blog post, and I'll give you a link to all of that information, so that'll be coming out very soon. But you want to set it to private. You don't want to have it set as a public setting. There's been situations where students are sharing the link out on social media, and then there are other people, random people coming in and not doing good things. And so you do want to set that to a private setting. And what that will do is give your students a link that you can share. You can share that in an email with students. You can share that on Google Classroom or Edmodo or Canvas, whatever platform that you're using. And it will give them a password. And so then they will log in and it will be a secure situation for you and your students. So that's important. The other thing that you may want to consider doing, I know a lot of districts are requiring this, is to have students mute their background. So you'll still be able to see their faces, but you will not be able to, and the other students will not be able to see what's happening behind them, just for security, just in case something were to happen. So those are two things that you want to consider when you're using Zoom. But I really do like that there are those privacy settings and there are those privacy features, and Zoom is really being on top of making sure that they're handling that so that it's a safe site to use for students. So personally, that is my favorite way to do to deliver materials. That said, there are a couple of other options. Screencast-O-Matic or Screencastify are also really great tools. And that's actually what I'm using to create this video, is Screencast-O-Matic. And so with that, you can create videos of those teacher presentations and share the videos out with students. I know some districts are giving students I almost called it a floppy disk. I think I'm going to leave that in there because that's just funny. They're giving students a USB drive, and they are giving that out to students or mailing that out to students. And so a Screencast-O-Matic video is something that you could upload to the USB drives that you are providing to students if your district does not have secure and reliable internet access and is working to provide equitable instruction in that manner. So that would be a way that you can still deliver a teacher presentation and deliver content with that method. So that's something to think about. Another digital tool for those that do have internet, I know some districts are actually working with local providers to make sure that each student does have access during this time, would be through Google Meets and Microsoft Teams. Essentially, they're the same thing, just with a different version, a different provider. It's just a way to hold a group or team meeting with other people and have a discussion, have a conversation. These are really, really, really great for holding discussions, like doing a literature circle discussion. I would highly recommend Google Meets or Google Hangout. Google Meets is more of a district-wide. The district has, gotten Google Meets for everybody, and everybody has access to it. Google Hangout's a little bit more informal, and if your district is not a Google district, you could definitely still use Google Hangout. They're essentially the same thing with the same tools. But you can use these to deliver instruction as well. You can have your students meet with you through Google Meets or Microsoft Teams. You can share your screen and share information with them that way and have a conversation with your students about the learning. So these are some digital ways that you can get the teacher presentation out to students and still deliver the content pieces. So next, think, pair, share type activities, discussion activities, gallery walks. I actually have a slide for that too. But there's a couple different really fun tools that I like for this and that are really engaging for students. With Zoom, there's a couple of things that you can do right within the lesson without incorporating any other outside technology. You can use the chat feature to have students chat with each other or chat out back with you to do a think, pair, share activity. That would be a quicker option. You can use the breakout feature, breakout rooms in Zoom, to have discussions with students. They can meet and talk about a topic and then come back to the class. You can bring them back into the main room to have them share back out what their group talked about in that feature. And that all would take place right within Zoom, right within the same location. If your district is using Blackboard Collaborate, which is just another version of Zoom, same features would apply there for you. But some outside tools, you can bring them right into your Zoom meeting because you can share a link out with your students. And so you could use something like Flipgrid or Padlet, and your students right there with you still on Zoom can go to a different website in a different tab on their screen and actually be participating digitally in some fun activities. So Flipgrid is this up here, and with Flipgrid your students can create quick videos. They can also share just pictures too, but they can create quick videos. So let's say that you've asked a think, pair, share question, or you've asked a gallery walk question that you want students to think about. I don't know if you can hear my dog on the outside of the door, I apologize. we're all working from home right now, right? But you can have that posted on Flipgrid, and then students can create quick videos to answer those questions, and then the students can view each other's videos to see what they are thinking about the same topic. So, for example, if you have a gallery walk where you're going to introduce To Kill a Mockingbird or your class novel, you can put the question at the top of, what do you think this passage might reveal about Scout, the main character, before you start reading perhaps. And then students can create a quick little video response and share that and view that out with each other. Padlet's really fun too. Padlet, you can really share anything. You can share images, you can share links, you can share videos, that you can share just simply text responses. I actually like this better for maybe a gallery walk type activity, or if you were going to do type essay, type revision things. It kind of looks like little post-its all over the screen, which to me is very reminiscent of a gallery walk. And students can respond to whatever the topic is and then read each other's responses. So it functions in a really similar format, but digitally. So these are some type of activities that you can use when those teacher slides call for, or the activities in the bundle call for these type of activities. Okay, next, gallery walks I kind of just talked about already, but same thing for if you were going to do stations. Stations work really great within the Zoom breakout room. Another thing that you can do with stations is you can have students share the digital version of the stations, and then they can collaborate together, so they can share it with each other. So let's say you wanted a group of 5 students to work through the stations activity together, if there are stations in the bundle, or if you're creating stations on your own. And then they can share the doc with each other, just those 5 people, and they can collaborate on that doc, and they can even use the chat feature down to the side, or add a comment feature. It's not chat feature, it's a comment feature. And they can actually share thoughts with each other as they're collaborating on the doc. Or you can put them into a Zoom breakout room and then share the doc with them, and they share it with one another, and they can be working in Zoom, actually speaking and chatting with each other and seeing each other and working on a shared stations document at the same time. So that is one thing that I am doing within my classroom to try to keep engagement up and try to keep some of those best practices we know in this really unique digital setting. Visual assignments, so some activities in this bundle or activities that you're creating on your own may be more of a visual representation. Maybe you're asking students to create a magazine advertisement, or you're doing blackout poetry. Students can still very much participate in those activities. They can do that digitally, or they can print it if they have access to a printer, or if you're sending printed copies home to students. And then they can complete the activity, they can complete the visual. Maybe this is a one-pager activity, and then they can take a picture of it and share that picture with you digitally into the Dropboxes or whatever system that you're using. Or they could submit it to Padlet too, and you could have a view of all of your students' visual work on one screen, and they can each view each other's, which is a really fun tool as well. And then there's a fun feature. This works really well with Google Classroom if you're using Google Classroom, and that's Kami. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry. Kami. This actually will allow students to write directly on PDF documents. So if you are using a PDF document and you want students to type directly onto that document and be able to turn it in digitally, that is a tool that will work for you. There's a whole lot of video tutorials online that can help with that. And then there are other video tutorials, if you're interested, where you can actually take a PDF document and you can turn it into a Google Slides, and students can digitally work through a PDF document. So what you'd want to do, and there's better video tutorials than this, but what you'd want to do is use your screen capture tool and then actually screen capture, so it turns the PDF into an image, a JPEG. And then when you go into Google Slides, you can actually go to the background and insert an image as the background of the slide, and then select that visual, now JPEG image of the PDF, and put that on the back, and then students can create text boxes, or actually I prefer to create the text boxes over in the open spaces, and you've taken a PDF document and you've made it a digital document. So that's one tool, but there are really great tutorials on YouTube for that too. So I'll see if I can get some links going in here too. Okay, so the digital student workbooks and digital student documents. So this is where the students are taking the information now after you've taught them, and they're working through that digital Google Slides workbook or the digital Google documents. So assign them using the platform that you have available to you. Google Classroom is a really great tool if you do have that, because it will take the Google Slides, it'll take the Google, I'm going to call it Google Word document because I'm having a brain issue right now. And it will assign it to them. It'll make a copy for them. It forces a copy for your students so that they are not attached to your original. If you're going to use a different feature, for example, if you're using your own personal website, make sure that you are having students make a copy of the document. Don't give them a document that they can edit. So turn off the editing feature and share the link out with them, and then students will need to make a copy in order to actually type onto the Google Slides version. Otherwise, they'll make changes to the original. So that's something to keep in mind if you're not using something like Google Classroom, which will force a copy for students. Okay. And then these are just the blog posts that I currently have going, and then I have a few more in the makings of quick tips, digital tech tools. This one in the middle here is great for all of the different tech tools that I've suggested. So you want to do stations, here's a couple different tech tools that you can use for that. Or you want to do a Think, Pair, Share, you want to do a gallery walk, you want to do an escape room. Here's some quick tech tools that will help you with that. And then this creating an engaging online lesson is actually really helpful, because it will talk about how do you take, that lesson where you would have students just quick turn and talk, or you'd get students moving to keep them engaged, or you'd have them come up to the front and do sticky notes on the screen to keep them engaged. These will give you some quick tech tools within Zoom or other digital platforms to keep students engaged while you're teaching the teacher version of the lesson. So I know this is not everything that you need, and maybe it's more than you even wanted to know at this point in time, but I wanted to give you a way to take some of the features that are these digital tools that you have purchased and actually then implement them out to your students as quickly and as easily as possible. So my blog, I'm just giving you the link here, and if you want to check that out and check out some of these recent posts for more support, links to any of these resources that I've talked about to get you started. And if you have any questions, or you just want suggestions of, hey, how do you think I should go about giving this to my students, or how do you think I should go about teaching this, or how should I assess this in this time, please reach out to me via email, and I am very, very happy to help and collaborate and work with you and getting this resource to be the best that it can be for you during this time. Thank you. Have a great day. Take care, everyone.